Yeah, well, I understand I got a lot on my mind, a lot on my chest. That's why.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Lloyd
And I'm Natasha.
with Midnight Comics, and we are back with another episode of the What If Wednesday as a part of a little special situation here at the Indie Breakdown, where we break down the characters' powers.
It's a crossover.
It's a crossover event, and what we're going to be thank you for that because I'm going to go through a whole spiel.
Please don't.
Okay, no spill. But yeah, so soft rebooting our What If Wednesday situation that we were doing in the past. And last week we did What If the Avengers were indie. So keep it with the trend here. Essentially what we're doing is we're replacing some very prominent and widely recognized teams, if you would, and replacing them with indie characters. But the caveat is we can't just use any indie character. We have to pick them from the Indie Breakdown database at indiebreakdown.com. So if you guys haven't had an opportunity to see that, of course, definitely once more head over to indiebreakdown.com, where you'll be able to see a bunch of awesome interviews, breakdowns, past versus matches and the like, and of course what we'll be pulling from today, the database. We have two different divisions, Nexus and Reckoning, and we'll talk more about that at a completely another time. You can join the group for more information on that as well. Or just again visit indiebreakdown.com for that intel right there. But all that aside, we are going to be discussing.
The children are loud.
The children are very loud. One moment, please.
One moment, please.
And we're back. So essentially, so we're going to be discussing what if the Justice League were indie, and we're not just talking about Justice League in regards to Justice League, the cartoon show, anything like that. We're talking original. That'd be way too easy. Original Justice League. Okay, so in case you guys don't know, the original lineup did not include Batman nor Superman. The original iteration of the Justice League included the Green Lantern, Flash, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and the Martian Manhunter. So again, we are tasked with choosing only characters from the database and putting in stand-ins for those characters. This one's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing who was selected for Flash specifically, but we are going to find out who we have for each of these. Do you want to start, or you want me to start again like last time?
That's the one.
That is the one. Do you want me to start?
I was like, how did we manage to do this? I like hearing yours first so that I could cross counter why I
Okay.
did.
Okay.
Unless we did.
There were
good job last time.
Did a good job last time.
Didn't pick a single character the same.
That's true. And even though we did both pick Super Termite in a capacity, it was an opposite character.
Right.
So, all right. So with this one, there were two characters that we could have rocked out with on this. With that I was debating about. I'm not gonna.
Who we on?
Huh?
Who we talking about?
We're talking about Green Lantern. I apologize.
Okay.
So on Green Lantern, there were two characters that personally I was like, get something from other outside source, gains, wonderful abilities and powers and stuff like that. I was thinking Pantheon initially, but I said, you know what? No. We're going to go. And Tasha, you already know what it is.
I do.
We're going to Trinian Justice, okay? A Trinian is a character that gets his powers from the Sword of Justice, much like the Green Lantern Power Battery. But not only does he get the energy from a power battery, he also wields the Sword of Justice like a Green Lantern ring. Not necessarily wields it like a Green Lantern ring, but it makes sense as a stand-in for that. I don't like how Opera makes everything look dark. I'm sure Google Chrome won't look like this, but regardless, you guys can see the picture. If you need to see the picture a little better, head on over to indiebreakdown.com and go ahead and check out a Trinian Justice. But yeah, he's our stand-in for my stand-in selection for Green Lantern. He has cosmic lightning abilities, the ability to power transfer. He's got the blue fire baptism. He's got laser vision. He also has a living starship. But yeah, I think because one of the things that we have agreed to edit and add to there is the fact that, again, not only is he powered by the Sword of Justice, he also is able to wield the Sword of Justice as well. So, even down to what they fight, right? There's a direct kind of entity that they face off against. That's the kind of the antithesis of what he wields. You got the Sword of Justice, and then you got Father Evil, right? You got justice directly fighting against evil. You have, again, willpower versus fear until we start getting to the wider spectrum of things. But anyway,
be fair, those are the only two that
character.
fight each other.
Even the alien in the first issue, right? And again, you guys can check out the breakdown that we did for Trinity and Justice for this additional information I'm about to provide. But there's the alien that was in the middle of fighting against something else, and the Trinian stepped up to the plate, helped out, and it was just like, you know what? You are that next symbol of justice, right? I'm going to hand this power off to you. It's a play off of Abin Sur, right? So it just works, you know. So that is my choice as the stand-in for the Green Lantern. So, Tasha, talk to us. What do you have?
All right. So because I knew you were going to be picking between one of those two, Pantheon or Atridian, and because my initial thought was definitely Atridian, because I also thought you were going to go Pantheon, but I wasn't certain. I decided to just not.
Okay.
So instead, I went with Vibrant.
Okay, talk to us.
So, you know, he's got energy manipulation.
Okay.
Which is the Green Lanterns don't manipulate energy, but to be fair, technically they are manipulating energy. If you really think of it,
to be fair,
he contains energy, and he can deliver destructive blows. He can absorb energy. He can convert it. I don't recall if he said anything about being able to create constructs with them, but you know,
I don't think so.
Powers. It's the light spectrum, right? That Vibrant uses.
No, he just has energy blast. He's able to convert energy though.
I said that.
Oh yeah. Okay, but yeah, nothing on the spectrum.
I didn't read the first issue. You did.
Got you.
I've been meaning to do that.
So yeah, he really just he unlocks the powers towards the end of the book. Uses almost like a shockwave ability and is able to move faster than he was before. And again, so yeah, energy blast and stuff like that. But
the energy also allows him to fly, supercharge his abilities, stuff like that. It's pretty much limitless, much like I believe that Green Lanterns are. If their only limits are really their imagination.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Which again, with energy manipulation, one could argue, right, that he should be able to do something of the sort. Maybe it'll be a little bit more cumbersome as a Green Lantern, but energy manipulation is a very broad term that you can make the argument for. But I feel it, yeah.
Right. So I thought it was light spectrum stuff as well, but looking at the card again and looking at something he posted in the group and listening to you because you're the one who interviewed them, that's not the case. Because I was going to make a funny comparison of light spectrum versus emotional spectrum, but
okay, fair enough.
But energy and energy,
okay,
it's all energy, and
I like this
because they never let them have their imagination be as wild as their imaginations should be. Then they're very similar.
And honestly, the fit kind of gives off that feel too. Yeah. Obviously more Red Lantern situation, right, in regards to the color scheme, but again, just how the fit looks, all other stuff, like it gives that kind of that same vibe as well. Okay, I can dig that response for sure. Okay, so we're gonna nip things in the butt right quick. The one that we had,
nip things in the butt right quick.
We're gonna rip the Band-Aid off, I think is what I was looking for. We're gonna rip the Band-Aid off and talk about the character that gave me personally the hardest time. So
let me go ahead and type that name in.
So for the Flash, I decided to go with Warstar. He has the ability to kind of manipulate, convert, absorb sound, right? So again, his strength and stuff is based off of how much sound he's absorbed. So one could argue with the amount of sound that he absorbs, he could then accelerate his speed because it's a physical thing, right? His leg strength. And so he would use the sound to accelerate how fast he moves and thus making him a faux speedster in my book. Now, again, he probably can only get up to a Mach 1, Mach 2 situation. But again, in regards to the other characters and stuff in there that aren't godlike beings, I think Warstar fits the bill, or at the very least, through this kind of explanation, could possibly take the spot of a Flash character. So that was tough, though. I'm not even going to lie to you. It was tough. But yeah, I went Warstar.
Okay. He was actually an option for me. So,
Okay, so we was on the same wavelength.
but then I said, you know what?
Uh,
No, I have a better idea, and that idea is Sir Absolute.
really?
Because Sir
Oh,
Absolute can
right.
manipulate the universal energy and bend reality,
Yeah.
thus being able to move faster. He has teleportation
Mm.
and regenerative healing, which the Flash has because he's able to move at such speeds. And he's also one of the fastest characters, if not the fastest character, honestly,
Database.
at least on that side of the database.
Yeah.
And I
I
was like,
think I was
between
trying too
his
hard to find.
manipulation and his teleportation and his reality bending powers, there you go, Flash.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I was trying too hard to find somebody that had the ability.
So none of the speedsters that are in the group currently are in the database. So
Yeah.
that, because otherwise there would be like 3 or 4 speedsters
Mhm.
in there. I've
Agreed.
literally done 2 matches,
Mm-hmm.
I think, with speedsters.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good though. I think he is the fastest character in the group. No, yeah, he's one of the fastest because I think he might be tied with Pantheon.
I think he's tied with Pantheon, but I think his powers worked better.
But
Because I
yeah,
looked at both of their speed. Both of them, I think, were at an 8.
gotcha. If you guys want to know more about the power stats and all that other stuff, again, visit the Indie Breakdown website. Whether you go to Nexus or Reckoning, there is a section for you to see essentially a legend, if you would, where you can see what each of the stats mean, what all the dots and symbols and stuff like that are on the card. So yeah, we definitely encourage you guys visit the website, check out these indie characters, and of course, at the bottom are these creators' social media. So go check them out, support them, all that other good stuff. But that's a good one. That is a good one. I accept this. Okay. So
Accept my fate.
I accept it. So this was it. This was probably the easiest one for me. We're talking Wonder Woman. That's the
Yeah.
easiest one. I feel like me and
Yeah.
you both picked this one.
No,
We
I
are.
did because I knew you would.
Oh well, shucks. There we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Let us introduce to
Alexandria the
you
Great.
Alexandria the Great, our Wonder Woman stand-in. I mean, honestly, enough said, right? Flight, accelerated healing factor. She's got the strength. If you look at the symbol and stuff there at the top, resistance to toxin, disease stuff, all that wonderful stuff. I don't have to read it all out. It's there on the screen. Matter of fact, even fun fact, right? Lie detection specifically, right? The guy that made the lie detection test, it was also the same guy that made Wonder Woman. So you can't go wrong. Hence the lasso of truth. You can't go wrong with this character here. So,
True.
Alexandria the Great, ladies and gentlemen, is my stand-in for Wonder Woman. Tasha, you have been picking some good ones that are not the low-hanging fruit. Who did you pick for Wonder Woman?
Okay, so I knew you were going to go with. Dang it! Come on now.
You knew I was gonna go for Alexandria the Great.
I know I did because even when we initially brought it up, I was like, I mean, that's obvious. We know we have one in there,
Mm-hmm.
but see, that's the problem. Am I?
What? What's up?
I was trying. Did I write the
Remember,
wrong thing on there?
I was gonna say, remember on the URL, you can.
I can, but the problem being that it didn't work.
Oh no! Is it a Nexus character?
I wrote down it was a Nexus character, but every time I typed there, every time I looked through Nexus and didn't find it, so I'll look through Reckoning just in case. But then also when I type their name and under the hashtag, it brings me to the homepage.
Oh boy! So my bad, y'all.
Now this isn't my actual pick, but I had a whole explanation.
Now wait a second. Now, who was your actual pick?
Hold on,
I
getting there.
apologize. Oh, this is what you were talking about before the show. We're at the part. He's like, you'll know.
No, it was Sir Absolute.
Oh, it was Sir Absolute. Okay, my
Saying
bad.
how do we do this? Yeah, I picked Sir Absolute in this one. You picked Jupiter Man in the last one.
Ah.
Okay, I can't find him.
Okay. Who was it?
But initially, I went through a lot here. And
For Wonder Woman.
for Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Not because it was hard to find Wonder Woman stand-ins per se, outside of Alexandria the Great. It actually wasn't that hard, but because I had a hard time narrowing it down.
Okay.
So I thought about doing. I'm sorry, I'm gonna look one more time because there's so many, and I'll be scrolling fast, and so. Oh, okay. I did look dead at him, but the name was so much longer.
Huh.
So I initially thought about doing
Huh.
a swap. I did not pick Khalid, but I thought about doing a gender swap like I did with Thor,
Mm-hmm.
with the Verdant Mother, because Khalid looked,
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like a Wonder. I was gonna say Wonder Man, but then you makes you think of Wonder Man from, and that's not the
Yeah. He
same
feels
point.
like a
Yeah,
Themyscirian. Or
yeah,
gender swap Themyscirian.
yeah. And then I was like, nah, I don't know why, but I went nah. And so I was narrowed down to the two Wonder Woman esque characters of Midnight Comics. And it was like, But I mean, technically, we have a Wonder Woman esque character.
I'm
And
so
so I
stupid.
picked the one of the Wonder Woman esque characters.
Okay. Okay. I like that. I can't even be mad at
So
that.
I
That's
picked
perfect.
Kaya,
Okay.
and I met my quota.
You know what? Unfortunately, I failed the test. I did not make our quota at all on my list. At all.
Now, to be fair, I don't do it intentionally. Like, I'm not going to shoehorn them in if there ain't
Mm-hmm.
nowhere for them to be. But
But
I mean,
she's literally,
she's literally right there. She
yeah.
has a special lineage that her powers are inherited through. Like, she doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
godparents, but for the most part, none of our characters do. But
Yeah.
she does have a special lineage in
Yeah.
which her powers are inherited through. She has the powers. She could pray and be able to do all these kinds of things. She's got the Wonder Woman esque strength, not quite Wonder Woman level,
Mm-hmm.
but those practically the closest you're gonna get
Yeah.
for a lot of our stuff. Base, she's above average human strength. And then with Glory, she's even stronger.
Right.
And to be fair, she can almost be as strong as she needs to be because that's kind of how having the blessing and glory works.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole nother side of things.
Yeah. Damn, that's a good one. Damn, that's a good one.
And she's Israeli.
Right. Dang, that's a really good one. Okay. Okay, that's one I want to hear down below. If y'all would Kaya fit better than Alexandria the Great? Let us know.
Probably not, but
Now, damn, that was a good one. Damn. I'm kind of mad that I overlooked her. but Alexandria the Great again, that was hanging fruit.
easy. Yeah. Of course, my other option was Ali. But I feel like Kaya fit better.
Yeah, Kaya definitely fit better if we were to So the next one, Aquaman. Now, initially, I was like, "Oh yeah, Tutu Pele," and I was like, "Wait, that's a villain," but she looks just
She
like
looks
Aquaman stand.
like, yeah.
I'll pull that up on the screen just really. Oh, I'm on the wrong keyboard. All right, I'll show my screen really quick. So there's Tutu Pele. I was like, "Oh yeah, obviously.
Right.
You can't go wrong. But the problem is,
She's a villain.
he's a villain. And although we will gender swap if they're a villain,
Now,
now
it'd be different if
if
they were like
anti-hero,
anti-hero or maybe even an anti-villain.
right? Maybe, right? But with that being said, right, there was one obvious answer.
You stole my answer, didn't you?
This is the one I feel like I stole your answer, ladies and gentlemen. My Aquaman stand-in is none other than Atlas
Atlas.
himself.
Now, it did work out because I forgot Atlas was in the database and I could not find him.
You found another person?
Barely.
Okay. I look forward to hearing it. But Atlas, again, hero, freaking awesome fit, everything like that. Hydrokinesis and cryokinesis. I mean, he can
Water.
control water. His fit is made of water. Like that hood that he
that
wears
whole thing is water.
It's water, right? He's able to, change up this. Well, I would say, I guess, change up his physiology, or well, at least the suit that he's wearing around him. He could change. He could really just completely manipulate water, and then he's got cryokinesis, so he's able to turn everything to ice as well. So, like, yeah, I mean, you can't. He is water. Be like water. He is water. Obvious choice, bro. Obvious choice. Now, Tasha,
choice.
you've been going against the grain. I said
He's the only real choice, but again, I couldn't find him.
Okay. Talk to me.
I found him just now when I was like, oh, he is in the database. There he is.
Oh, I remember when you said that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, it's too late now.
Too late.
So, because of that, I tried to be
creative,
similar and creative. And so I actually went with, if we ever do X-Men, what will probably be my Storm stand-in, which means Storm will be a gender swap. Forecast.
Huh. Okay.
Because, he's master of the elements.
Yeah.
Manipulator of the skies. And he has weather manipulation, so he can make it rain or something, I guess.
Okay. Okay. I can dig it. I can see it. Okay. Hey, don't y'all judge. We can do what we got here in the database. Okay. So if you guys want to see more characters that could stand in for these folks, right? Some more characters that have water abilities and stuff like that could be an Aquaman stand in, and maybe down the line a Submariner stand in, right? Like let's get hype, get some characters into this database. We open it back up, and talk heavy in the group so that we can see you and we can be sure to make you aware when this opens up. No, I dig it. Okay. Okay. We're down to the last one.
Move on to my favorite one.
Your favorite one. I got a good one. And we're still okay. This is the moment of truth. Will we have one that's similar? Ladies and gentlemen, we are discussing Martian Manhunter, the stand-in for Martian Manhunter in the indie database. For me, is none other than, that's still Atlas, Absolver. Absolver is my stand-in. He's able to communicate with, beings mentally and what have you. He has a vanquish ability. He's smart. He's able to, mimic certain abilities and stuff like that.
I feel like you're just sucking up to Jamel.
Nah. Shapeshift, all the whole nine. But Absolver is my stand-in. I mean, he's ominous, imposing. You don't know what's on his mind. Like, he is. You can't go wrong, man. You can't go wrong. He looks kind of like White Vision.
I would have definitely gone for a Ghost Rider stand-in or something like that.
Really?
I mean, yeah, because he's
now, yeah, with the penance there versus Vanquish and stuff like that, yeah. But come on, being able to, well,
I mean, to be fair,
I don't think he reads people's mind per se. He is able to communicate with spiritual beings and get the emotions and stuff off of things that he utilizes Vanquished on. He can be intangible. And he could shapeshift because that suit is literally his soul, right? So he could shapeshift into whatever he needs to be. Again, being able to communicate and go intangible and stuff like that. Has a decent level of strength. Definitely not as strong as a Martian Manhunter, but again, anyway, Absolver was my choice there. So, Tasha, for this last character, who do you have?
I won't lie. Again, I did definitely look at Absolver. But I was just like, knowing,
you know me so well.
The inspiration for Absolver and stuff, I think I can do better. Okay. I think I can find someone that's more fitting.
So I'm gonna lie, suspense is killing me. I'm like, who the heck would you pick?
Excuse me, please do my bidding. Oh, okay. So I'm not gonna lie. Initially, I thought about going with Dr. Scholl.
Okay.
Because he has levitation, teleportation, precog, stuff. However, this is my other gender swap, if you will. and I picked Damon's sister, Joanne.
Huh.
Why? Because she's the ultimate shapeshifter.
We got a Miss Martian situation going. Okay.
Even, her stats ain't great, but she's shapeshifting.
Mm-hmm. I
Which
can
means
dig
she'll
that.
probably, well, never mind. That won't be X-Men because she's not on the X-Men team.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as the ultimate shapeshifter, even though that's not all Martian Manhunter can do, I decided to go with Joanne. Dr.
Okay.
Soul is a close second because he has a good portion of some of the other stuff.
Okay. Damn, this is good. Okay, Tasha, let me ask you this then.
No.
All right, so we're gonna end the show right then. So I know last time I said what I envisioned the mashed up team would be between the two of our teams. Let me ask you. You get the final say here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is, if taking both of all the characters that we said respectively,
Mm-hmm.
who would you finalize as the OG indie Justice League team?
Mm-hmm. I think we're going to be majority your picks here. As much as I don't want to kick Kaya out, Alexandria the Great is just too good of
Too great of a character. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna cut to a quick commercial break.
Hey, you! Yes, you! Watching this show right now. Have you heard of the Indie Primetime?
And cue up commercial here.
But no, Alexandria the Great is a great pick for Wonder Woman, and honestly, it was probably the most perfect character. It's the first person we thought of. The second we thought about it. Aquaman, obviously we're going with Atlas because the only reason I didn't pick him is because I couldn't find him. I'm going to go with my Martian Manhunter.
Okay.
We're gonna keep Joy with the shape shifting abilities. I think that's good enough, especially if you think like Martian Man. He wouldn't do much else.
Okay.
Poor bastard. That's why he died.
Stop it.
Green Lantern. I think we stick with
Atridian?
yes, Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Again, another one I would have picked, but I knew you were gonna pick him, or Pantheon, but he was more fitting. But then I'm gonna stick with Sir Absolute Flash because I feel like it just works better for him.
Okay. So altogether we've got Atridian, Sir Absolute, Alexandria the Great, Atlas, and what's her name? Joanne.
Or
As
Joan. I don't know. I've never heard of
Joan. Yeah, I think it might be Joan. That's a stacked team. That's a more stacked version of the team than the OG team. That's a
It literally had Martian Manhunter, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman.
classic Martian Manhunter, classic Flash.
And actually, you know what? If we're thinking classic Martian Manhunter, all we need is a shape
Right, and super strength.
and some strength. Well,
I don't remember if he had telepathy or not back then.
Yeah, so long ago, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up after the show. I'm very curious. Or in the comments, remind us, please. Try to get you guys.
Probably have looked it up. I would also like an honorable mention.
Even though
he wasn't the big bad at the time yet. That's okay. So I would like to honorable mention Darkseid.
Okay.
And my Darkseid is actually going to be Invictus.
Ooh. Now I'm gonna have an honorable mention as well. Then.
Oh really?
No.
Did you actually have this set up already, or are you?
No, So in the back of my head, I was thinking about the fact that there's villains on the covers of these, right? So on the last week's on the original cover for the I'm gonna say X-Men for Avengers, if I'm not mistaken, Loki was the villain for that, right? Okay. So I was debating on who to pick for that end of things, but we're not on that video right now. For this one,
I was gonna say we'll go ahead then. I don't know.
But Invictus, That's a good one. Now, I'm going to dare say, because the front villain for OG Justice League was Starro, I'm going Argan Krill. Hold on, let me pull that up so you guys can see that. So much like Starro, who has God only knows how many different. Okay, it's not popping up, so I gotta let me do this the Justice the Long Way right quick. Hold on.
Oh my god, what did you say?
That's a quote from Atridian Justice. He says "Justice the Long Way," so that's why I pulled that from. Check out the story. So yeah, Argan Krill.
I forgot to bring up the other option I had for Wonder Woman was Irene.
Irene Force. Okay, I like that. But yeah, much like Starro, right? He has a bunch of insects and stuff like that he can come about doing, sending out and doing his bidding and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, they have a hive mind, again, much like Starro and stuff like that. So if I was to pick a villain for this team to fight in place of Starro, yeah. If you talk about Invictus instead, they are cooked. They're done.
That's like putting the OG Justice League against Darkseid. No.
Yeah, they're done.
Bad idea.
Yeah, they.
I mean,
I would have picked Adius. I think Adius. It was either Adius or Malik.
Oh,
Adius.
Loki.
For Loki, Adius would have been for Loki standard. Both magicians.
Malik. Why do I feel like I almost chose Malik for something?
Yeah, well, Malik is a good one. He's got looking at Malik really quick, and we'll get ready to close out because technically we're talking about the previous week's episode here, right. In regards to a Loki stand.
Oh, I was just looking at Malik.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, but then I was like, wait, no, we're trying to find Avengers villains now, and I was thinking of him for Aquaman's brother.
Okay, fair. But yeah, much like Loki, he's immortal. Okay, this guy's got spiritual possession, energy blast. Now he's got weather modification, divine siphoning, like mass and remote possession. Like he has magic, right? He's got some stuff that kind of fits the bill. But you know what? I mean, Loki's a god, right? And quite honestly, again, thinking about that OG Avengers, I don't think they should. I think modern versions of the character, sure, but back then, man, Thor has a hard enough time, right? They're cooked, man. I don't know, but anyway, we know how the story went back in the day, right? But yeah. Malik. I mean, he's even got the helmet. He's got the helmet. He's got the helmet and a staff, a scythe, but Loki's got his, scythe as well, or staff, if you would. So yeah, Malik would be the pick for the last week's Avengers villain if we were to do, if anybody is still interested in those companies. Yeah, but Malik would be the stand-in. So yeah, that would be that'd be great. But no, I pick Argan Krill for that. God, Invictus though. Oh my gosh, that is devastating. I don't think we gave him enough time just now to talk about those powers. Been gassing them up, but I ain't really say y'all look at this. Somebody come and look at this. Reality warping, matter and antimatter. Come on, they're done. Now again, now to go backwards again. If we're talking about our Justice League standing between having Sir Absolute and Atridian Justice, they got it. They can come with it. Yeah. But those are the heaviest hitters on the squad, honestly.
Right. They got to come with all the fire. Which, never mind.
What?
I was going to say, short version of what I was about to say, they will.
Yeah. So, anywho, that's a solid team. Solid villains and stuff there. Ooh, it'd be a cool
Avengers villains we got.
Huh?
I was like, what other Avengers villains we got that we could?
We could save that for a whole episode in and of itself.
True.
We could do a Red Skull standard or something, a Hydra standard leader, and something like that. We could play around with it. But next week we're gonna knock out
Fantastic Four.
Oh, you want to do Fantastic Four? I was gonna say X-Men.
I ain't got no X-Men.
Okay, and now
I have thoughts for a few now, but
OG X-Men: Beast, Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Angel.
He ain't even say Jean Grey. He said Marvel Girl.
Marvel Girl.
That's OG. We ain't even got Storm on the team.
No.
Also, Professor X does still exist.
He does.
He was the team leader.
But was he in the trenches with them though? In that issue?
Ever?
Right. But if you wanna go there, I will add Professor X. I have my team set up already. So
I know. I don't.
Okay. So next episode will either be X-Men or
Fantastic Four.
And it's gonna be Fantastic Four. Tasha has spoken. So, ladies and gentlemen, tune in next week for our What If Wednesday Indie edition. Indie Breakdown edition. The crossover event of the century. Anyway, we're gonna be talking about Fantastic Four stand-ins again, only utilizing the database. We want to know your thoughts on what we have for this week, the Justice League, and
hopefully we can go back to doing what we were doing before.
Yes.
We're going to create a Spider-Verse with indie characters.
Yes.
I mean,
and I think we had a list already.
Spider-Verse with public domain characters.
Yeah.
And we did have a list.
We had a list.
I don't know where mine is.
I don't know where mine is either. I think I typed mine.
We'll find it. I can remember a few of them.
Okay. I'm ready for this. All right. So be on the lookout. Fantastic Four, X-Men, and then we're diving right back into what we used to do. The crossover event will be over for now.
What we used to do was do what ifs with our characters.
We
also do public domain.
So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Those are usually live, right? So after this, after the Fantastic Four, after X-Men, we'll be doing these live for discussing again the public domain version of the Spider-Verse characters. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you all for tuning in and helping us redefine power scaling in the indie world in regards to indie breakdown. And of course, Joelle, do you have any other closing thoughts, my love, before we close out here? Damn, she just looked good. All right. So with that being said, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. And remember, until next time, midnight is coming.
Bitch, I'm